and business community. Judson Irrigation will turn on your sprinkler system in the spring, repair or redesign as needed, and turn it off in the fall. For service to orphan sprinklers, remember Judson Irrigation. They'll never forget you.
Call the Judson Irrigation Orphanage 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves them, that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Yeah. Happy Monday, Huskers. All over the place. Blessings to you and yours and ours. Well done. You made it through the weekend. You got a new week. You got a new opportunity. I keep track of some things, so I'll go over some things that happened this weekend because I'm just fired up and I love it and I'm good. I want to thank the folks from the Mercado. Certified Piedmontese beef. The best there is, as in to steal from Bret Hart, the best it is, the best it was, the best there ever will be. Go to Casa Bovina, go over, book ahead, go on the website, Casa Bovina, get in the schedule. And the reservations, you're going to have to go weeks in advance. That's how good it is. That's how packed it is. But we thank them for what they do for us in allowing this thing to happen. Again, 402-464-5685. Starter Heyman text line, Honda Lincoln hotline. You want to be a part of what we're doing, hit us with a what's up, and we'll include you in the conversation. That's how we get down. Of course, the Starter Heyman video stream is up all over the place. All over the place. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo, channel 951. And yeah, I'll be honest and be open. We are efforting channel 937. Like, they working with us. I want to shout out Brad Moline from Allo for all that they're doing with us, for us, about us. I'm so appreciative. I can't stand it. And then on the sidebar, the folks from Canopy Street Market, Dan Swanson, Brad Moline, his lovely wife, they look out for the student athletes that do shows for the ticket. Those folks down there on the low, without asking, they don't blow any horns. They don't do it. I'm going to blow the horn for them. That they are providing meals and goodies for the student athletes who do shows on 93.7 The Ticket. That those kids can go in there and get fed. Right? Something off the, something that's a little different than that. It's a matter of convenience. Sometimes they just want a little something else, a little something different. And then our buddies out, we got to give Charles from Mary Ellen's because he will make a play. Yeah. He has made a commitment, a verbal commitment, and then a physical commitment in action to make a plate for any Husker athlete that works with us, for us, that provides content for you listeners, for them to go out there and get a plate anytime they want.
It's beautiful.
So there's a community of really good folks. The folks from Lincoln Pub, which is now Layton Pub, I believe they're rebranding. They take care of the Monday night folks. They're different folks. And if you're in the mood and in the heart to support our student athletes, you let me know. All you got to do, hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Just call in the office or drop it here on the text line. Hey, DP, my company or my family wants to help out these folks. Another excellent point. One, the billet families for the Lincoln Stars. Shout out to y'all for opening your homes to those young stars when they come in, right? Giving them additional family, a place, because they're away from home. These are teenagers away from home. And they come in and they have people that look out for them and take care of them. And then the Lincoln Stars, the Salt Dogs. The Salt Dogs are looking for homes for their players who come in. That starts in May. It's April now. They need a place. So if you're interested, reach out to the Salt Dogs, that thing, or reach out to us, and we'll do that. Also, last year, Austin didn't get a part of it, but Strick did. Last year, the Salt Dogs started a thing, and we're bringing it back this year. BP with DP.
That was fun.
BP with DP. And I'm coming up with the contest for the first 10 folks, and we're working on it. Because that first home Friday, we're going to invite 10 listeners to come down and take BP with Strick. I guarantee you Steve Taylor will be down there taking swings. Nick will probably take some swings. Austin, you're going to take some swings, or you?
I would love to. Is there room for just nice opposite field line drive singles? Okay,
absolutely.
Yes, I'm in.
Absolutely.
I'm there.
Absolutely. Last year we had football players come down there. Of course, Nori and Banks came down there, and both of them just hit bombs. It was cool to watch. This year we have a special night planned where we're inviting the young ladies from Husker softball to come and take BP.
Come show us up, you mean?
Yeah, right. And then, of course, I know that if we gave her the opportunity, we gave Courtney the opportunity to strike us out, she absolutely would.
Oh, yeah?
Absolutely. But we're going to do that as well. But throughout, there will be once a month where we do BP with DP on Fridays down at Haymarket. You can come down. You can put your cleats on, you put your spikes on. You can shag some balls in the outfield. You'll probably get in, 50 swings or so if you're up for it, and that's not easy because unless you're doing it all the time. I tell you, I had the raw hands and the sore ribs after that first.
I did too, my boy. Hands was blistering. I will have baseball gloves and all. I'm gonna be ready.
Like we're gonna be ready, and we're working with Charlie from the Salt Dogs, because what I think needs to happen is that we're gonna try to get a bunch of our talent signed for one-day contracts. So I want to see if we can get Strick as a DH for one home game.
Put him in right. He's
I
still
don't
got
want
the
to
arm.
look. No, because I don't need for him to miss work from a pulled hamstring 4 days after. Like the next 4 days, Strick with a limp.
I'm getting in shape right now.
Look, there's shape, and then there's that kind of shape, and I pretty much can guarantee you Strick will be coming out with a limp after playing right field. Maybe some first base, but I don't need for him to take a bad hop either. Right? Like we want to do that. But there's some dudes. On Green would be another one who would be a really good, maybe a first base coach for a game, and have them come down and do that. So there's a lot of cool stuff going on. Again, it was a great weekend. I thoroughly enjoyed Kansas City. I went down for UFC fight night. That was exceptional. Packed house.
Oh yeah, it was
packed house. Oh my goodness.
Good card.
Oh my goodness, great card. Kansas City downtown was buzzing. I was okay.
It was
popping. Okay, Kansas City. Didn't know.
It was popping.
Didn't know.
Power and Light is
it's
it.
Yeah, it was booming. It opened the door because immediately I start looking for. First of all, that T-Mobile Arena, it doesn't have a basketball team that plays there.
Yeah.
On a regular basis. So I was kind of sad by that because it's a nice arena. It's where the Big 12 tournament is, but it doesn't host basketball on a regular. So, but I was thinking for that almost 3 hour drive, Janet's there in May, Janet Jackson's there in May. That might, maybe
little drive 3 hours. Might need to show up.
Maybe
I saw her in Vegas. She's actually still putting on good shows.
Janet,
I saw her.
Janet don't miss.
I need. Listen. If DP will let me
look
see,
at
you see how I'm doing I'm doing it on the air, so that way I'm putting the extra pressure. If DP will let me, Austin, I'm trying to go to Vegas so I can see Usher at the end of the month.
29th?
Like around that time, around the end of the month. But the only really time that I could get there would be a Monday. But I'd still work. I'd still be working. I just
do that, man.
Yeah. You guys, thank you. Starter Heyman text line at all the group 402-464-568. Thank you for your support of DP letting Streaky go so I can see Usher.
Well, look, I'm a fan of people living their life.
Oh, and Boyz II Men too.
Right? Like that's a good one, right? Like that's a good one.
That'd be fun.
Like because true, like I'm fair and I'm honest, full disclosure. Like I'm gonna be in Charlotte May 13th because our own Anthony Lionheart Smith is the co-main event for UFC Fight Night in Charlotte. May 6th. Omaha is Drew Dober.
My dad lives in Charlotte. That would be one.
No, man, like, come on. I lived in Matthews for 5 years, bro. That's the spot.
Yeah.
Like that's an easy one. Newark, New Jersey, for the actual big fight card, Henry Cejudo against Alex
That is
Sterling.
going to be sir.
That's a glorious.
Yes, sir.
That's a glorious card.
That's one to see.
So that's in Newark, May 6th.
I need to see that. Cejudo is a 2-time champion too.
Cejudo is
he's that guy.
He's
dangerous.
I'd love him.
He's old though.
I'd love him. Well, but I don't. He's not. He's actually not that old. And you can remember he's an Olympic wrestler. Like this is a dude, and he may be. I don't think there's maybe. Henry Cejudo is the smartest fighter in the UFC.
Yeah,
he's the smartest in as far as scheme and schematics and technique. He's the smartest fighter in the UFC.
Hajime is a long time.
Everybody learns from Henry Cejudo. Like Bones Jones, the sequence that he used to end his most recent title fight came from Cejudo. The same thing happened with Max Holloway. Cejudo's that guy. So I'm going to travel. So I have to be open to people traveling. Strick, I put out some money. Put your money away, man. You ain't got to pay me for that. That ain't how we get that. That ain't necessary.
You said I'm trying to do some under the table stuff.
Not necessary. I'm
like,
and then in full disclosure. Okay, so
no, DP is a great owner. That's the one thing that I love about it is DP understands life. He understands work-life balance. He understands that individuals have things outside of the station. Now, it's better if you can continue to still do your work. You still have days that you may have to take off and use those days. But for the most part, he does a great job in the leadership. Just all of them, Mark, all of them, man, they do a great job. Just they want you to coordinate. You just want to have coordination.
Just tell me what you're doing, so that we can cover. But look, if you're getting to do the stuff that you really want to do,
you know what I got to ask real quick?
Yeah,
I don't know if it's going to happen. I need to coordinate that. But there's a golf tournament with Kevin Hart, Magic Johnson.
When? Where?
It's going to be next week, Monday. But I need to coordinate. I got invited. I got asked, but he was kind of sipping on a little bit.
I understood.
So I need to call him on a Monday when he get through the weekend.
Sure, right? Remember what you said. Remember what you said. Well, see, that's the thing. So I got invited. I got invited to Washington for an event that's being planned based on the new Commanders ownership.
Yeah, ownership. Yeah, $6 billion. He just made a lot of money.
Well, he made a lot of money, but somebody offered him more money. And
wow!
But they offered cash. But I hate to speak against somebody, but I'm not sure his check's gonna clear. Like the other dude, the dude that offered $7 billion versus $6 billion. But we never know who those people are. But Magic Johnson is in the group with
first
Harris,
group,
with the group that he's got it owns the Sixers and the New Jersey Devils.
Oh wow!
So he's connected. He's got the money. Athlete, college wrestler. Wrestled Wharton Business School. Like he's a dude.
Yeah.
And as they put this stuff together, I was invited to it. And I was just like, oh man, I don't want to be drawn back into this.
You want to get down to DC. That's the homeland.
Well, DC going home, I don't need a reason to go home. Yeah. Like my daughter and grandson are there. Hey, no reason. But getting back into that other game, I don't know if we want to do that, Strick. Yeah. I don't know. But we'll throw the break. When we come back, I do want to. Friday, Saturday was really interesting to me, and there were two instances that I want to talk about. Actually, three. Lots happened this week. Strick, if you'll stay around one more segment, we'll get into that. Again, old school on a Monday. I hope you are being kind to yourselves and others.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Put lawn irrigation on automatic. Think Judson Irrigation for worry-free service to Lincoln homeowners and business community. Judson Irrigation will turn on your sprinkler system in the spring, repair or redesign as needed, and turn it off in the fall. For service to orphan sprinklers, remember Judson Irrigation. They'll never forget you.
Call the Judson Irrigation Orphanage 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, listen up. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
It's April, and that means the school year is almost over and summer road trips are on the horizon. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday and do it now. Mullen Motors lot is full of great vehicles to take home, so you don't have to worry about your current car barely surviving another road trip. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride, as summer road trips are just around the corner. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
The Butchery by Venue is Lincoln's premier specialty grocers. Take the quality of Venue home with you with our hand-cut steaks, handcrafted burgers, and locally sourced offerings. Browse our wide selection of specialty products designed to enhance your dining experiences with cheeses, spices, sauces, and more. We also have an exclusive collection of liquors, whiskeys, and bourbons at prices you're sure to love. Stop in to the Butchery by Venue today, located in our Venue at Home storefront at 70th and Pioneers, just 2 doors down from Venue Restaurant and Lounge.
For great views, go to Kansas. For unforgettable views of action-packed racing, go to Kansas Speedway. NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway, May 6th and 7th. Get your tickets today at kansasspeedway.com.
The Nebraska Lottery has given over $900 million back to our state since 1993. It's gone to improve our environment, education, and stay fair.
Over $900 million? That's something.
I'll say.
Hey, I have a great idea for a commercial. Have someone count to 900 million out loud.
That would take 28 years. Not a good idea.
I don't know, with a little background music and some sound effects.
There's another studio down the hall. Why don't you get started?
The Nebraska Lottery, 30 years of building a better Nebraska.
The Nebraska Lottery has given over $900 million back to our state since 1993. The proceeds have helped protect and improve Nebraska's environment, funded need-based scholarships for Nebraska students, and maintained and improved facilities at the state fair.
That's terrific. You should put that on your website.
It already is. Just click on beneficiaries in the menu.
Menu? You guys serve food too?
Maybe you should get off your feet for a while.
The Nebraska Lottery, 30 years of building a better Nebraska.
Hi, it's Charlie Stone again, and with me on the line, Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I know how proud you and everyone at the dealership are to earn the prestigious Honda President's Award year after year, 17 times. Tell our listeners what it means to you and your customers.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, all of us are extremely proud to have earned this award, and I want all of our customers to know it's not just earned by one person's effort. It's the entire dealership, sales, parts, and our amazing service department.
17 times. Wow. How does that compare to other Honda dealers?
This award is only given to the most elite dealerships that demonstrate excellence. We really do strive to go above and beyond for the ultimate customer experience before and after the sale, Charlie.
That's why for 2022, Honda of Lincoln is once again Nebraska's #1 volume Honda dealer. Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
The Empire brand is growing with ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting. ESC is your place for custom handrails, industrial and commercial painting, and more. ESC provides custom welding for aluminum and stainless steel and media blasting of all sorts. ESC has great attention to detail. They stick to deadlines and keep within your budget. If you can dream it, they can make it. Contact ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting in Waverly today at 531-207-9329.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Not nearly as windy here for our Monday. In fact, a beautiful day on the way. We'll top out at 68. South winds at around 15 by this afternoon. Plenty of sunshine. Tonight clear with a low down to around 41. Tomorrow windy. Southeast winds gusting over 25. A high of 77 and a chance of evening thunderstorms. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to it on a Monday again. Happy Monday. Hopefully you folks are having a great time.
Somebody asked you a question, DP.
Ask away, bro.
Somebody asked, Brandon Sports World said, why did Henry Cejudo go on a temporary hiatus? Kind of disappeared off the map a little bit.
So, well, he didn't really. He went one, which is its own international MMA federation. So you go over to Asia, and they pay you.
Okay.
And it's no different than pro wrestling or jiu-jitsu or kickboxing, that once you go and get one international credit, right, for people who are willing to pay you outside of what the UFC will pay you. Now, Henry was making good money in the UFC, but he wasn't making one money.
Right.
One money is a freedom. It's the difference between Casey Tamanaga and what he can make in NIL at Nebraska versus what he can make as a player in his home country. They're not the same. And there's value.
Is Live PGA, basically?
Same, right?
In a similar way.
That there are people that are in the business of generating cash, and then that cash allows you to come back and do the thing you want to do. Doing the thing that you have to do, Live, allows you to come back and do PGA at a pace and level you want to do it at. Right? Because, hey, there's bank. Like my next generation, like the difference between generational wealth and being currently rich.
Yeah.
Like generational wealth, rich, well off, there are different seeds
different
to
levels to that.
It's different levels to it, right? Yeah. That there are players in the NBA who are rich.
Yeah.
They're not wealthy because they don't have the system in play to keep that money and then to grow that money. Like there's a few Michaels and Magics, but there are a lot of folks who made money who've disappeared.
Yeah. Facts.
Who disappeared. There are folks, Stephon Marbury.
Facts.
That he could have stayed and made NBA money, or he could go overseas and become an icon. He can come up with an icon, and then he can come back and do what he wants to do around NBA circles, running camps, sponsors, and such. Cejudo made that money over there, and he's now making more money because he learned more arts. He learned more mixed martial arts while he was over there.
Yeah.
And it made him a better fighter, and it made him a better businessman.
Yeah.
So that's the stuff that was in play. There's a lot to it. Cejudo, I mean, again, he's an Olympian, like a true USA Olympian in wrestling. A lot of folks don't know the history behind this dude, but Cejudo's a monster. He's just a little dude. If he was a heavyweight, he would be the GOAT.
Because he's 5'4", 135.
Yeah, if he was a heavyweight, he would be he and Demetrius Johnson. Those are the two, 1A, 1B. Those are the Ali Foreman of small guys in UFC, right? They're Ali Frazier. That's how good they were. But they're little dudes.
Yeah.
So they fall into the Sugar Ray Hearns category rather than the Ali Frazier category.
Yeah.
Because little dudes have to be greater than the big dudes to get the same credit. So Cejudo, he's a good one. It's funny too. So a couple of things. So Friday, two of my former players from Houston play for Northwestern. And there was a moment in the game Friday where Evan Minarvik, who plays third base for Northwestern, he's been injured a lot of this year, but he's healthy now. As a matter of fact, his dad flew in from London to catch his son since his son's playing again. But Evan was, in my mind, one of the top three quarterbacks in the state of Texas. He was that. I'll show you some clips. Evan was a bad dude.
Yeah.
And there was a moment where he had hit a single and pass ball took him to second. And he's standing off second base in front of Bryce Matthews.
Mm-hmm.
And I took the picture because there were two of Texas's great high school quarterbacks playing baseball in Lincoln, Nebraska 3 years later.
Mm.
And I just went, oh. And then he advances the third, and he's standing there with Lance Harvell, who, of course, coached in Texas. As a matter of fact, Harvell actually recruited and signed two of Menarvik's teammates to play at Sam Houston State for him and Will Bolt. Right? So these kids, this little school in the Woodlands, Texas, produced a bunch of Division I baseball players.
Right.
Evan is just a good kid. He'll be a doctor. If he doesn't make it in baseball, he comes from a millionaire family. He's gonna be all right.
Mm-hmm.
Got Northwestern degree, and he's good looking. So he life is his. Reed Smith was another one, star pitcher who pitched at Texas Tech first and then transferred to Northwestern because of that. They were there. So I got to see those young people, and it warmed my heart because they're still my kids, so I need to show up for them.
Mm-hmm.
I leave there and go down to a PBA, and I'm standing out front of the building. I was trying to find Raph, and
not a hard guy to find, but
right, I'm looking up above everybody else to see Raph walk in, but Raph was already inside. I'm standing there, and Matt Rule walked up, and I've been telling people this thing that I want to know someone or something before I speak about someone or something. I actually want to know them. I want to know them.
Right.
I don't want to speculate about who I think a person is until that person shows me who they are.
Yeah.
And then I have some steak and potatoes behind it. There's some substance, right, to how I feel about it. And Matt Rule came up and called me out by name. Now, I've been in the room with Matt Rule before. I mean, I've been at practices and I've been at events where we've talked. We've talked several times. But Matt Rule came up and called me out by name, and then had a legitimate conversation with me. And I gave him a little grief, to be totally honest. Gave him a little smoke.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how come you haven't been on the ticket? He's like, I love the ticket. I'm like, oh, you do? I'm like, why haven't you been on it? He goes, no one's asked. And I said, come on. Come on. He goes, no, we were at dinner. We talked about it, but we didn't commit to doing it. But other people have talked to people in my department, but talking to me, he goes, but I tell you what, I'm going to be on the ticket. I'm going to make sure that the people who need to know this, and then we'll talk next week and we'll make it happen.
Good.
And then I watched him walk in. We took a picture.
Mm-hmm.
I'll share that. I hadn't even shared it yet. I didn't want to be that dude. I'm going to share it later. But he walked in, and our seats were second row. He was first row next to us. He came walking down the aisle, and he did a thing that I've asked people to do 100 times on the station. And he offered me a fist bump. And I went, okay, he just scored bonus points. And I hate to be that dude that's what it took, but that's what it took.
Yeah.
That's what it took to be a person.
Yeah, yeah.
Remove the title BS.
Yeah.
But just be a dude.
Can I elaborate on that?
Yeah.
So just on that specific point, so I'm going over to similar type of thing. I'm going over to basketball practice. I'm walking in. Matt Rule and a few of his coaches had just been speaking to the basketball team and sharing some stuff with them. He walks out. Now there's multiple coaches that I've run in situations like that they may walk by you, nod and say hello and keep on moving, right? Which is normal for any other coach, but there's something uniquely different about Rule because he looked me in my eye, halfway kind of looked me up in my down, kind of up and down.
Right? He measured
measured me a little bit, stepped up to me, smiled, and then I introduced myself and I told him who I was, and he stood there and presented himself and had a short conversation, but it was engaging. It wasn't short, quick, try to get the heck on by you type of deal. So that you're absolutely right. He's something. There's something uniquely different about him that when he looks you in your face, he means it.
Called by name acknowledge, and then had a conversation. And people were coming up, like they were starting to gather, right? Because they recognized who he was, and take pictures and otherwise. And he was like, "Let me do this first, and then I'm gonna take care of y'all." And then once inside at the wrestling match, a couple of things, and everybody knows I'm a huge wrestling fan. Like I just am. And to watch Rule, who later said, "Hey, I'm not really a WWE fan like that," but he engaged in the event. He was present in the event. So once he got the rhythm of there's a pinfall and everybody counts 1, 2. Well, Matt Rule's counting 1, 2, and then when they kick out, like Matt Rule was full in. And I thought, I said, Derek Pearson, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, because I was giving him bonus points for being a wrestling fan, but more importantly, I was giving him points for being present. Like, he was just present. I watched him take pictures with every kid in that section.
Yeah.
Like, I watched him sign autographs. I watched him do selfies with people. Like, I watched it. And I went, okay. Now, again, in real truth, it has nothing to do with winning games in August, September, October, November.
Yeah.
But what I can tell you as a person, I can tell you that I can't imagine every Nebraska coach there doing that the way he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's the thing I can say. There are a bunch of Nebraska coaches. Now, I guarantee you, Mark Manning, they would have had to keep him from climbing over the edge and jumping in the ring and putting somebody in.
Those dudes in the ring would have been scared.
Yeah, right. Like him and George Burrow would have just been front row and then jumped up in the ring and locked somebody up. I could see Coach Hoiberg standing there giving beef to a wrestler, right? Yeah. Like, I could see it. I could see Will Bolton Harvell actually putting on masses. They're from Texas. They're wrestling fans, guaranteed, and I can see them. So I give Matt Rule credit for being the person that he was in that event, because it showed me some humanity that often gets lost.
Yeah.
It often, sadly, gets lost.
It does.
And I was like, okay, I'm not saying he's going to win 7 games. I'm just saying
he's a person.
As a person, he scored points with me Friday, and I wanted to share it because I just felt like, you know what? That was some good stuff.
Yeah.
That was a great representation for the state, for the program, for the university. He did all those things all at once in 3 different opportunities. Like, again, not all coaches would have aced that exam. Mm-hmm. He aced the exam, so I wanted to give him credit for it. I do want to shout out something as simple as I can before we get into the short segment to close out the hour. But I had a big weekend, and there's a series of books that I've been able to be a part of with coaches and educators from around the country, and it's called The Impact of Influence. And some of you know it, some of you don't, but we released volume 6 Saturday, and it's a big process. A lot of Zoom calls, a lot of shows, a lot of the stuff where you have to pitch and sell and pitch and sell and pitch.
And what's the name of it again?
The Impact of Influence. The lead author is a coach from Texas, Chip Baker, national spokesperson, travels the country giving speeches. One of the great humans. He's been on the station several times. One of the great humans. But just reminding people that we all have influence. And when we choose it positively, it becomes impact. Mm-hmm. And it becomes the good thing. And in these stories, we all just pay tribute to people who loved us. People who taught us. So sometimes it's coaches, sometimes it's parents, sometimes it's people in the neighborhood, like sometimes it's a teammate, whatever it is. And this one has 15 authors, 15 stories of lessons and love. Like, it's real simple, and it's a great read. I'll tell you that. But we found out that, in fact, it reached Amazon bestseller, number 1 bestseller. So each author gets to do that.
Yes.
I'm now an 11-time Amazon bestseller.
Not 1, not 2, not 3,
right.
not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, not 10. There we go.
One
we got
more.
11
It's
DP.
just like this one, like the previous one, I got to honor my grandmother. This one, I chose my stepfather. I chose the man I call Pops, who came into my life when I was 11 years old and loved on me. He married a woman who had 8 kids.
Wow. Yeah.
And walked in and said, "Okay, I'm gonna love y'all." He was DC cop, boxing fanatic, gave me my love of boxing, told me all the stories of Ted Williams and Joe Louis, and often sit me down and take me back in the day about the greats of sports and telling me that Willie Mays was the greatest baseball player ever lived, and he would fight me over it.
It's beautiful.
So for those that are interested in it, reach out to me. You can find it on my website, loveprince.us, or you can just reach out to me. I'll get you a signed copy of it. It's 15 great stories. Don't go anywhere. More Old School when we come back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
For great views, go to Kansas. For unforgettable views of action-packed racing, go to Kansas Speedway. NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway, May 6th and 7th. Get your tickets today at kansasspeedway.com.
MWR is dedicated to building attractive, affordable steel buildings that exceed your expectations. From commercial or residential to agricultural storage, steel buildings are cost-effective, attractive, and versatile. Plus, they're a lasting investment and an ideal choice. MWR uses Sentinel Building Systems out of Albion and can service you all over the state and region. If you have interest in a steel building, post frame building, or fencing, give MWR a call today at 402-980-5273 or go to mwrbuildingandfence.com.
Hi, it's Charlie Stone again, and with me on the line, Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I know how proud you and everyone at the dealership are to earn the prestigious Honda President's Award year after year, 17 times. Tell our listeners what it means to you and your customers.
Thanks, Charlie. Yes, all of us are extremely proud to have earned this award, and I want all of our customers to know it's not just earned by one person's effort. It's the entire dealership. Sales, parts, and our amazing service department.
17 times. Wow. How does that compare to other Honda dealers?
This award is only given to the most elite dealerships that demonstrate excellence. We really do strive to go above and beyond for the ultimate customer experience before and after the sale, Charlie.
That's why for 2022, Honda of Lincoln is once again Nebraska's #1 volume Honda dealer. Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Motor Food is Lincoln's hardest rocking food truck and cafe. Motor Food creates old school comfort food with a 21st century twist and lots of rock and roll attitude. Try the barbecue pulled pork mac and cheese, the grilled chicken Firebird sandwich, a 100% all beef split grilled hot dog, and any version of their funky fries. Stop by the cafe just behind Outback Steakhouse on 48th Street, or catch the food truck out and about all spring and summer. Check out their menu, order carry out, or schedule a catering at motorfoodtruck.com.
Are you looking for a solid, stable career in assembly, CNC machining, or injection molding? We got you covered. Hi, Bob Williams, HR Director for Garner Industries, a world-class manufacturer with a 70-year history right here in Lincoln. And I just listed some great career opportunities that you can find by logging into GarnerIndustries.com. If you want top pay, excellent benefits, flexible work hours, and the opportunity to work in a clean, modern, air-conditioned facility with great people, contact me today by applying online at GarnerIndustries.com.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln by offering a number of services. From group homes for special needs adults to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the intellectual and developmental disability services your loved one needs to live a fulfilling life. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a more rewarding career, learn more about available positions. Learn more about services for your loved ones or employment today at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
The best way to learn about Southeast Community College is to visit. And you can check out our spaces before you visit in person with a virtual campus tour. An opportunity to see our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, and Milford as you learn about our programs and areas of study. There are virtual tours of our learning centers too. We can even take you on a personalized virtual tour. Learn more on our website, southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
You've driven by GE Landscape Supply countless times, likely without even knowing, at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. But now it's time to stop in. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction material. They sell in bulk to save you money, buying anything from a 5-gallon bucket to a semi-load. They deliver anywhere, and if you mention you heard this ad on 93.7 The Ticket, they'll deliver in town for free through the month of April, with some restrictions applying. Go to GELandscapesupply.com for more info, or call 402-467-1627.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for Ready Mix Concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical, and retirement benefits, paid time off, and we pay for CDL training. Apply today to earn an average total compensation of $50,000 to $60,000 your first year driving. From Nebco's beginnings in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Final segment of the hour. Sitting here with Austin and Strick until Jay Foreman gets here. Jay was traveling, so whenever he gets here is whenever he gets here. And otherwise, we pros. This is funny. Okay, so today was all about Herbie Mania. So at 5:00, I'm gonna have Mark Onweiler show his brilliance. Mark Onweiler is underrated talent. He's just an underrated talent. And
skinny underrated talent,
right? Yeah, well, he's lost it. Like, he's lost 100 plus pounds,
man. He looks great.
Changed his life. So yeah, he put them fingers to work today and did something magical. So we're gonna have some fun with that. Strick, before I let you get out of here, we've got a couple of minutes. I'll ask you this question, and you can give me whatever answer, whatever version of the answer you want. If I asked you who the five greatest Huskers are, period. 5 greatest Huskers. Text line, have at it. Text in who you think the 5 greatest Huskers are.
Are you asking?
Yeah, Strick. And you can't be wrong. You cannot be wrong.
Well, and that's the thing. I just recently there was a poll that was put out, and people have been going wild on Twitter on it. It talked about the top 10, and again, there's different criterias, and it's your opinion. Like, that's the thing that people sometimes get all up in arms about. The guy put out a top 10. I think he had like Chucky first, me second, Woolrich third, and then you kind of went on down the line. Badgett, I think, I don't even know if he was on there. He went on down, and then you finally got to Salas and a few others down the line. And it's your opinion, right? Mm-hmm. It's not the end all be all. I mean, people go crazy over the Michael Jordan and all the LeBrons and who's the top 10 in the NBA. And, then you start thinking about it. You start forgetting the Oscar Robinsons, and because some people just didn't have a chance to see them. The NBA was just viewed in a different. So you've got all this debate. So that's why I say this part. I think for me, you've got to look at Dave Hoppen. You've got to look at Eric Pikowski. You've got to look at, I think you've got to look at, maybe Brian Carr, Vincent Hamilton, and and then Tehran. Mm-hmm. I think that's an area that I would look. I would never put myself in there.
You should.
So don't.
You're okay.
I just don't. I just don't do that. But I think I made I think I made a positive contribution to
You want to chip
the Husker legacy, you know what I'm saying, in both ways of winning, being a part of teams that won, being freshman of the year, being all defensive every year that I was here. I think I'm second team all Big 8. So I think I left something. Being a local kid, I think I left something.
You did your part, and
I
then
did my
some.
part. I did my part in the success of a program at its greatest, in its highest levels. That I think the only detriment that I had is just not winning that one NCAA tournament. And gosh darn it, we should have. We had great teams. Yeah, it was just unfortunate. I will continue to say this. Danny Nee was probably one of the greatest recruiters of all time. Danny was not a great X and O guy. He wasn't the guy that was going to draw up the best play on earth and make that thing work. But he knew his players and he knew how to get the most and the best out of them. And that's where he was. I will say in a couple of instances, probably Danny's greatest downfall was when it came time to relinquish that power and turn it over to those that have been doing it and were, that's what their greatness is. And that's what the greatness of a leader is, DP. The greatness of a leader is allowing the best of those to do what they do and do it well. And you not trying to step on the hands, toes, or fingers of those that are that in that space. And so that's where I think his greatest downfall was, in instances where we needed those individuals to step forward and be the best at what they did. But Danny kind of took that role from them.
That's the gospel. That's good. All right. Let's pause for the cause. Let's go to break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it. Get your list ready. 5 best Huskers of all time, and then those most underrated.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Seems like just the other day, I was building my first house. I've seen many changes to our building market in Lincoln. It's been a fun road.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
We hear this a lot where I don't want to live in a cookie cutter home. Well, let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. One thing that we started doing early on was we started building neighborhoods. I'm a firm believer in character in your street and in your neighborhood. I like choice. I like variation. I like maybe something a little bit different in a neighborhood that you don't see in every neighborhood. I think it's great to have choices, its uniqueness, and I think that's what gives a neighborhood character. And I think that's what we've done over the years.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
The best way to learn about Southeast Community College is to visit. And you can check out our spaces before you visit in person with a virtual campus tour. An opportunity to see our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, and Milford as you learn about our programs and areas of study. There are virtual tours of our learning centers too. We can even take you on a personalized virtual tour. Learn more on our website, southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
It's April, and that means the school year's almost over and summer road trips are on the horizon. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday and do it now. Mullen Motors lot is full of great vehicles to take home, so you don't have to worry about your current car barely surviving another road trip. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride, as summer road trips are just around the corner. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Tailored Life is now open in Bennett. Make the short drive down Highway 2 for tons of items for your home, for both indoors and outdoors. Check out their variety of potted trees, shrubs, vines, perennials, and colorful annuals. Plus, porch pots and landscape lighting to enhance the outside of your home. Don't forget their home goods for indoors, plus convenient drinks and snacks, most which are produced locally. Visit Tailored Life today in Bennett and stay tuned to their Facebook page at Tailored Life 360 for food truck events coming up. You've driven by GE Landscape Supply countless times, likely without even knowing, at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. But now it's time to stop in. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction material. They sell in bulk to save you money, buying anything from a 5-gallon bucket to a semi-load. They deliver anywhere, and if you mention you heard this ad on 93.7 The Ticket, they'll deliver in town for free through the month of April, with some restrictions applying. Go to GELandscapesupply.com for more info or call 402-467-1627.
This is Jay Foreman. When I played football for Nebraska and in the NFL, I wore protective gear to safeguard my health. Today, I'm not only protecting my health, but everyone in our community by staying up to date with the bivalent COVID vaccine. Update your protection with the bivalent COVID vaccine while it's still free. Find out more at healthylincoln.org. That's healthylincoln.org.
Hey, you got any gum?
Yeah, check my backpack.
What's this?
Oh, that's naloxone. It can reverse an opioid overdose. I decided to always keep it on me after my friend almost died. It saved his life.
I'm so sorry. That makes me want to have it with me too.
You totally should. Check the pharmacy. It was actually really easy to get, and it's easy to use.
I definitely will. Thanks.
Paid for by the CDC, sponsored by Nebraska DHHS, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Are you planting this spring? Make safety your priority. LES requires any landscaping or trees to be planted a safe distance from electrical lines and equipment to give crews safe access. Visit les.com/trees to learn more.
The Nebraska Lottery has given over $900 million back to our state since 1993. It's gone to improve our environment, education, and state fair.
Over $900 million? That's something.
I'll say.
Hey, I have a great idea for a commercial. Have someone count to 900 million out loud.
That would take 28 years. Not a good idea.
I don't know, with a little background music and some sound effects.
There's another studio down the hall. Why don't you get started?
The Nebraska Lottery, 30 years of building a better Nebraska.
The Nebraska Lottery has given over $900 million back to our state since 1993. The proceeds have helped protect and improve Nebraska's environment, funded need-based scholarships for Nebraska students, and maintained and improved facilities at the state fair.
That's terrific. You should put that on your website.
It already is. Just click on beneficiaries in the menu.
Menu? You guys serve food too?
Maybe you should get off your feet for a while.
The Nebraska Lottery, 30 years of building a better Nebraska.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves them, that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Second hour of Old School on a Monday again. Hopefully, you guys are having a great Monday. 402-464-5685. Starter Heyman text line. Onto the Lincoln hotline if you want to be a part of it. And again, jump on the video streams or the app. There's just tons of ways for you to enjoy the content. Jump on Allo, channel 951. If you're at the crib or you're at the office, just put it on 951 and go ahead and have at it. Let's bring in the Husker Hall of Famer and let him tell you about the Mercado.
What's happening? How you guys doing on this beautiful Nebraska Monday?
We good. You back on the ground? You good?
Yeah, it's all good in the hood, man. It's I know that look, it's what 72 degrees. It's gonna be 72 tomorrow, and then by the time the spring game jump off, this bad boy is gonna be it seems like it's gonna be below zero.
That's gonna be 55. 55 is like, come on, weather, like work along with us. Help us out, man.
That's what I'm saying. help us help you, right?
Yeah, like help us out, man. We promise to behave. Just let us get outside and enjoy it without having to shiver up, man. I went through that. Where you been, man?
Man, we had a little basketball competition this weekend, and the friendly skies were friendly because it was good flying, but just wasn't on time. So it was all good, man. It was just kind of jumping back into coaching a little bit, and on the weekends, and then getting ready for the spring game. I'm really interested to see how it all shakes out. I know it's going to be tidied up, but I think it's going to be buttoned up and be a good representation. For me, I'm really interested to see who fits where, what they look like, and how the second and third team compete against each other.
Through all of Saturday's workout, right? That for what everybody was talking about, and when Matt Rule comes out and says, "Well, defense won today," you're not surprised at that, are you, linebacker professor?
Well, I'd hope they would. I'd like to, look, man, to be honest with you, you want it to be a good competition where, the defense wins, the offense bounces back. It lets you know they have some pride and there's some good competitive spirit going back and forth. But, the defense, could be a little, there's not as many, it just seems there's not as many numbers. Look, there's 16 receivers in the receiver room. I think just that alone is astronomical, whereas defense, you can, run around and hit and kind of dictate stuff. And sometimes on defense, just by pure effort, it can give you the smoke screen that you're ahead. But reality, nobody's game planning for the defense yet. But, the fact that the defense is doing some things, you got different guys stepping up, you're hearing different names come out of the spring, that bodes well for, the individuals that, potentially your, Husker career was on the line, I guess, per se, that they're doing well. And some of the young guys coming in it seems like they're, at least not embarrassing themselves and look like they can fit right in. So, offensively, I think, once they kind of get a little bit more healthy up front, and then the consistency and continuity should take off and find out, where you're at in the tight end position, Fedoni, Gilbert, Borkature after, and I think he could be in there and be your 2A or 2B anyways. Borkature and see what the transition of Applegate is. And Bonner is kind of like an H-back. I don't view him as a tight end, but like kind of a utility guy. And then the receivers, if they can get their top 5 or 6, situated or sorted out pretty soon, I think you're going to see, throughout, if they have a good summer, that offense taking off because, like the competition, I assume, between Casey and Jeff Sims is just getting started. Sims obviously got the live reps, but Casey got the mental reps, and Casey gets to see, what his, ugly sores are per se. And then sometimes with the coaches, you can, see somebody so much that when the new guy comes along, you're like, man, I didn't really realize he was that good. And I think part of that is also, I'm assuming Casey's going to be around, you know what I mean? And I'm not into the whole, if he's leaving, Saturday or last Saturday or whatever it is. But I don't think that they realize how good of a quarterback he was under the circumstances last year, and especially with some of the play calling and the lack of helping the offensive line out in protection, which then was a trickle-down effect. And the things that he was able to do, I think they're going to be pleasantly surprised. And, whether they let that be a surprise, that's on them. But I think everything will work itself out.
In your mind, is it really a competition? Do you think the quarterback position that Sims, Harburg, Purdy, Thompson, Smothers all end up in a real battle for this quarterback position? And how does it play out? Is this done in the classroom? Is this done, how is this done?
It's through some, I'm assuming, like I said, I don't know. I'm just guessing. For sure. Those coaches got to answer that, and they could give you, hopefully a more honest answer. But I just would assume you got 2 guys that have legitimate starting experience, and that's Casey and Sims. Legit. And so on that alone, you think them two need to battle it out. And then after that, that's where Chuba Purdy and Smothers really battle it out. And those are the conversations that they need to have after spring. Realistically, are you our type of quarterback? Do you fit into our system, even if, all hell breaks loose and, the top two guys get hurt, and then you're next up, right? Because sometimes you could be number 3, but, you really are kind of like a full goal number 3, where the number 4 is, they think that they could get something out of them, down the line. So I'm assuming those conversations are going to be had, and then they got to make decisions there. And then once they get there, it's the battle throughout the summer. I'll be in the weight room, the classroom. They do some 7-on-7 stuff. I think, and I don't know if the rule is passed yet, that the coaches can participate a little bit more. And I don't know for sure if that's 100%, but I'm sure they're keeping an eye to all the activities. And then once you get in the fall camp, then then the playtime's over. Then every pass, it does matter now, but you have somebody that you're actually competing against, that when you look across that quarterback room in this case, that dude is a dude too, and that dude has 100% confidence in himself as well, as far as performing as a quarterback, and has done it in the Big Ten. That doesn't mean that Jeff Sims doesn't come in and thinks he can't do his thing, but it's a little bit different atmosphere, and so it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. I'm a firm believer like this. I remember when Taylor Martinez was the quarterback, and actually Tristan Gebbia was, I think, behind him. Actually, I saw him on the Ohio State spring game, and he left right away. And really, if I would have talked to Tristan, I would have said, look, this is nothing against Taylor or Adrian or whoever it was. I think it was Taylor. Like, this dude ain't never lasted a whole year anyway. So what are you worried about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're going to get to play, and you just never know what could happen. If you look at Brock Purdy in the NFL, 7th round choice, never would have thought he would have played. It was Trey Lance's team, to hell to high water. Jimmy Garoppolo was still coming off a shoulder injury, and they couldn't trade him. So he's kind of like the safety net. Both of those guys get hurt. And next thing you know, now you're the unquestioned starter because you were ready and prepared. But by no means did he go into training camp as Mr. Irrelevant, thinking, I'm going to end up being the starter going into 2023 season. So it does correlate down here. I think staying power helps. But then also, if you really want to play, you also know that there's only one quarterback position that gets to play. And so, you never fault the kid that's wanting to go play, because to be honest with you, if they're really good, say they have to go to a different school, maybe a lower level or just a different conference, and they perform well, then, there's going to be, as we've seen through this transfer portal, experience matters, especially when you're trying to win. You just never know who might come knocking on your door. And if you want another example of it, Stetson Bennett, who looks like a car insurance salesman, say, hey, look, you can come here, go to JUCO, get your game right, come back. He had to still battle. They didn't want to play him, and now look at him. He's a winner of 2 back-to-back national championships, and it's because he stayed the course and played at a place that he really wanted to play at.
Jay, it intrigues me a little that in a position of need or a position of question, that Alante Brown jumps back in the transfer portal. What does that say about the receiver room, and or how does it make you feel about that room if Alante decides that he is not going to be a part of it?
Well, I think he hadn't been back. He didn't come back since January. So him making it official, maybe they were trying to see if he could hit some check marks, or if he really wanted to come back, they would have him back, and he decided against it. So I really wasn't surprised, but I think, they feel very comfortable with, with what they got. They got, Billy Kemp, who, played, in the ACC and played against good competition. And then you got Washington coming back. You got, Betts and IGC, one of those guys you're expecting to kind of hit on, right? And then you got, the holdover from Baylor. You got guys with experience and stuff like that. So I think they feel very comfortable. along with some of the young guys and like Hardy and those guys that were originally recruited. So, I think, what they're going to do is end up being okay, but I think they just got to, understand that, it might take some time and it's going to take some continuity because, the way this thing goes and the way you're rolling, it's going to be, I wouldn't say it's going to be tough sledding, but it's going to be a nice little roller coaster there to see who really steps up. I mean, is Marcus Washington going to be the unquestioned number one? He came on last year and really, really became more consistent, with his hands. And then you got Billy Kemp and you got the kind of like a, Batman and Robin, two different body types. And plus with this type of offense, or at least what I assume they're going to do, if they're not up to snuff or maybe as physical as they like up front, they can become very physical out on the edges. And that's what at the receiver, position, blocking, and then also with the way that they're running after the catch and with the tight ends being able to block and execute different blocking schemes out on space, and you can become physical that way and wear teams out because the physicality, everybody thinks of just lining up and bowling people over. Obviously we'd like that, right? But also the physicality is how you're able to finish runs on the outside, get explosive runs that you can get, towards the sideline, and how these receivers, kind of create some sort of physical mentality. But then also you're going to tire out the defensive lineman, which will help you become more physical as you try to dominate the line of scrimmage. But that's not going to be your end all be all type of offense. So don't mistake what I'm saying. It can be your off speed pitch to set up your fastball per se. And so, it's got to be a conscious effort to establish the line of scrimmage in some form or fashion, but also you can do it you can have a separate line of scrimmage outside of the, offensive tackle box.
Jay, do you have any thought on what this offense is going to look like under Marcus Satterfield? Any ideas? Is this a big ball offense, big play offense? Is this a grinded downhill offense? Is this a 3 tight end offense? What is your thought?
Man, I don't know. I think a little bit has to deal with, how Fedoni progresses and what if he really is the real deal, right? And that's just being honest. Like, dude, you ain't played, you know what I mean? So you ain't played in high school. So we got to see you do it against big boys, And that's going to be, how he progresses through camp. There's no green shirt during camp, man. We got to test your manhood. And then Gilbert, if he's there, and then you got Borkature. And so then, you could be more of a 3, type of tight end offense where you can do multiple things. Again, on the edges, in the middle of the field, different formations. You can personnel them, in a different way as well. So I think it's going to be based on health. But then I also think that they're going to try to do different things week to week, right? And so, I think I'm only assuming here, and so I can only go off of, I guess, what I would do or whatever. Nobody knows what anybody is going to, what Nebraska's going to be on offense. So this is a perfect time to actually, I call it expanding your roster or using the most out of your roster, right? So if you're, trying to keep people more engaged and develop some depth and talent, you can have certain sections of your roster based on the game plan, right? So, it might be a weekend where you might, 3 or 4 tight ends will be in it because you feel like you have an advantage and you need some help maybe in pass protection or run blocking, right? And you might want to be trying to attack on the edges, or you've seen something, or you might want to be more of an RPO type of thing. So then you think of a Jeff Sim, or then you think of also what receivers kind of can work the best in the short area, obviously the play action and stuff like that. So I'm assuming it's going to be that. Then obviously you have the fullback element. I don't think it's going to be fullback, down in and down out, but I think it's going to be something that they're going to try to maybe not feature, but make sure that people are prepared for it, because the more that a defense has to prepare for, and they've seen that actually a team is committed to doing or has success doing, is going to take away preparation for what a team potentially may want to do. So I would assume it's going to be a multitude of things. I think that they feel like they can develop a roster that way. I think they can, and I mean develop a roster faster. And that's getting everybody to be, held accountable, engaged in the offensive game plan, and involved in it. So then therefore, when you're getting off the bus or going to the game, you already kind of know what your role is. And then when you can do that, you can build an identity and you can become a little bit more a cohesive team faster. And that's in theory, but, that's, I'm assuming what he might do or what they might do. And it also depends on who, considering who steps up, right? And if you get, Casey going, then, you got to really focus on maybe, potentially letting him run with it. And, Casey can run and then finding ways to use his attributes to the maximum and might be, rolling out the pocket and also doing the thing with Jeff Sims and see which running back is your running back that's really, stepping up, behind Anthony Grant, A.J. Allen, Gabe Irvin, who's going to be there. One thing to do it in spring, right, where you're going against the same guys and you know how they bite, right? You know how they hit versus going against guys that have no remorse for when they, put the pads on. So it's just interesting to see what's going to happen. It's, it's a long time, to the first kickoff, but it's a very short time because the pressure, even though you get through the spring game Saturday, right? The pressure doesn't taper off for these guys on this team. It actually ramps up because now you have to cement yourself as, whatever position you're at. Then you got to get ready for a season. Then you got to build a continuity. And then you got to continue to go to work because now it seems like, just being okay with being okay or just being okay with being the best 3-9 team or that, that's not in theory is no longer accepted and it never should have been. But, it's one of those things when you're trying to change the narrative, you got to change your work habits and how you think.
As that happens, the eyes move away. Like we like the bright, shiny, moving part, but we also know that this team will only be as good as its two lines are. What is the expectation Saturday? What are we looking for first on the offensive side of the line? What are we looking for? What's a sign of success when watching this offensive line Saturday?
Well, I think really, to be honest with you, I mean, like I said, I think the offensive line at times performed better than they really got, credit for, So like the continued progress and maybe, what they did, really good at times and not really good or good at times last year, right? You want to, look like you know what you're doing and look and when the like layman eyes, or I call it the naked eye, can look at, your offensive line play and be like, yeah, okay, I can see what they're doing. And so just along those lines, no, false starts, no, bad holding penalty, no plays to where somebody that doesn't even know football be like, oh, that guy was supposed to block that guy. And he didn't even look like he didn't know what he was doing, let alone had a chance to block that guy. So if you start eliminating that stuff, and then that's where the confidence will come from and figure out what you want to be really, really good at, what you can kind of hang your hat on. And you won't see it all through spring, but you see glimpses of it because if you see the first team doing it, the second team doing it, then you're going to see the third and fourth team guys trying to replicate that. Then you can maybe get a little bit of, identity of what they're trying to do. Finishing blocks is going to be huge. The effort that is demanded and the non-toleration of not your maximum is probably the main thing. If they do that and everybody embraces that, the offensive line will get better a lot faster than people give them credit for.
We're gonna take a break there, Jake. But when we come back, I do want to ask you about that other side of the ball, them big dudes to protect them superstar linebackers that like to run around and hit people and beat people up. We'll talk about that with Jay Foreman when we come back to Old School.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals. Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 10th and P or at 1501 Center Park Road.
Are you looking for a solid, stable career in assembly, CNC machining, or injection molding? We got you covered. Hi, Bob Williams, HR Director for Garner Industries, a world-class manufacturer with a 70-year history right here in Lincoln. And I just listed some great career opportunities that you can find by logging into GarnerIndustries.com. If you want top pay, excellent benefits, flexible work hours, and the opportunity to work in a clean, modern, air-conditioned facility with great people, contact me today by applying online at GarnerIndustries.com.
This is Jay Foreman. When I played football for Nebraska and in the NFL, I wore protective gear to safeguard my health. Today, I'm not only protecting my health, but everyone in our community by staying up to date with the bivalent COVID vaccine. Update your protection with the bivalent COVID vaccine while it's still free. Find out more at healthylincoln.org. That's healthylincoln.org.
Are you planting this spring? Make safety your priority. LES requires any landscaping or trees to be planted a safe distance from electrical lines and equipment to give crews safe access. Visit les.com/trees to learn more.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back in the future. Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Hey there.
Hi, honey.
Uh-oh.
Remember we told Jamie and Mike about Liberty First Credit Union, how great their checking account and car loans are, the amazing service we get, and how we love being members?
Yeah.
Well, they took our advice. Jamie said how easy it was to move all their accounts and become members. Now they say they're banking with purpose at Liberty First Credit Union.
Learn more about being a member at libertyfirstcu.com. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose. Member NCUA.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back in the future. Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
The best way to learn about Southeast Community College is to visit. And you can check out our spaces before you visit in person with a virtual campus tour. An opportunity to see our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, and Milford as you learn about our programs and areas of study. There are virtual tours of our learning centers too. We can even take you on a personalized virtual tour. Learn more on our website, southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Oh, man. Life is good. Life is good. Jay Foreman, the Husker Hall of Famer, sits on the Starter Heyman hotline, the VIP line. Jay Foreman, where we're talking about the offensive line. And you said give them credit because there are times, maybe they didn't play as poorly as was talked about or discussed, or is the general thinking. That defensive line with the players that are returning, the players who didn't, where do you think they stand? What are we looking for Saturday? Are we looking for certain guys to pop? Are we looking for lineups? Are we looking for schemes? Where should our eyes be?
Oh man, who knows? Well, the bell cow or who everybody is looking for is which is Ty Robinson. I think he's a little dinged up right now, and obviously he's played a lot of snaps, so you kind of know what you're getting with him. But you expect him to take a step forward, hopefully as well. But he's not going to be out there. So then you got to think of Nash and Judy. And then you got Wynn. All of them, have things to prove, and that's the great thing about it. There are opportunities there for them that I mentioned, but then also they all have something to prove. So, they can't go through the motions in the spring game like they're settled in as a starter. They got to go out there and really, I would be trying to dominate and really, number one, end this spring on a great note. Two, establish yourself in the minds of the coaches, the players, and the fans as being one of the guys or that dude in that position. So, a lot's on the line for them. You got to think about Raekwon Buckley. You got to think with him. You got to think. You had a little young guy Jackson that's doing well. Then you got to think also with the I guess the outside guys, Jamari Butler, Sherman, Chief Borders, Kai Whalen. All those guys you got to expect them to see with Blaze Gunnerson, where they all fit in, what they're going to do. And, it all, technically they're not defensive line, but they're going to be doing stuff next to the defensive line. So, I just think there's not a lot of known characters, but there's, I think ideally with the new regime and the weight program or what they want them to do, you'd like to see some improvement, and then you'd like to see some guys really step up based on a ton of opportunity that these guys have moving forward. So, some guys decided to not come back. Some guys graduated themselves back. Some guys maybe weren't asked to come back. Obviously with Colton Feach, he's a guy that you would think that would be pretty dang good in this type of defense, but he's on to other things, but it gives an opportunity for a lot of these guys that might have thought going into the season that they were going to be waiting, for their opportunity to play for another season. So now. Come Saturday, it's all eyes on them, and it's showing proof time. And that's the great thing about this spring game. That's truly going to be hopefully competitive in some form or fashion, or set up to the point to where these guys can really go out there and separate themselves. And hopefully, to be honest with you, the most important thing is that they separated themselves long before Saturday. If you're coming down to Saturday and this is what you're dependent on, 9 times out of 10, you might end up, disappointed because, I think, where you've been in this, you've been in winter conditioning, spring ball right now, you've been hitting, the pads on, you've been having a chance to really establish yourself in the weight room, in the classroom, outside of the football, building, and more importantly on the practice field and then in the scrimmages. And if you haven't really taken a step forward, which is what I mean by made some improvement, realistically step-by-step improvement, or started to separate yourself from competition, or really be somebody that's in that conversation, and you're banking on Saturday to be like your big coming out party, you're gonna end up grossly disappointed, because 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work that way. Guys that usually play good on a spring game or one of those type of things, I always remember when Victor Cruz had that really good game in the preseason. Well, Victor Cruz was doing work like that all through training camp. It's very hard to say, okay, I'm a gamer, I'm going to do it one time, and that's what not Matt Rule wants. He wants guys that are going to show up and come to practice and go to work and get better every day, not just go to practice to get through it.
It's always curious because spring game means one thing to fans. It means another thing to coaches because the coaches are looking for different things than the fans are looking for. And then it means something different to the players because the players all have their own different agenda. Yeah, it's not really a win a game situation. It's personal performance and accountability sort of deal. From your vantage, what's the most important takeaway? What's the thing? Saturday at 3:00. What do you want to think about this team? That they work hard, they play hard, they hit hard, they tackle well, they block well, they understand schemes. What's at the top of the pyramid for Jay Foreman?
I don't know really. I mean, first of all, I want to be healthy, and getting out of there. So, but I want to see, some physical play. But then I want to see some depth as well. So I think I don't want it to end up being like the Florida Gators spring game, 7-7, and you could have turned it off and kicked up on the recliner and had your soup and been sleep, a boring contest. I don't think they're going to show much, but not just showing much still can be exciting because if you go out there and execute and you block and you beat somebody to the punch, you can still be explosive. So I'm looking for, if I had to say it, the fundamentals. Obviously on defense, you want to fly around, tight coverage, see guys compete on offense and defense. And I just want to see just essentially a grand finale or a cherry on top what they've been doing, ideally all, off season, and it shouldn't be, a big deal because they've done it before. Now, granted, it's different because you're doing it in front of, 90,000 people or however many people there is. But ultimately, once you get out there playing and you're playing with your teammates, which, it seems like they tried to create some, continuity or some, more a team aspect. Everybody's going to be pushing each other and pulling each other along to do well because ultimately, the product that they all put on the field individually will work to, obviously collectively, and it's going to be a representation of what the fans are going to take going into the offseason. So, yes, a lot of competition is out there. But ultimately, the best thing for Nebraska moving forward is Derek Pearson and Jay Foreman and Austin Orman playing our best individual game while we're thinking collectively, inside the, defense or offensive scheme or whatever position we're playing. So I think it's a big deal. It's the first time, obviously, with a new coach, which obviously makes it, a way bigger deal. We've been through this before, obviously multiple times, but I think this is a little bit different considering, Matt Rule and staff, have done things that normal coaching staffs have done, but it hasn't been done around here in such a long time. It looks so drastic. So you're trying to see, okay, what big changes can we see? And in me saying it, also you have to recognize that Nebraska's teams were, competitive and, they were close, but then you're yet so far. And then you got to think, you got to give, I was listening to the morning show, you got to give, Mickey Joseph and staff, when Matt Rule said this is a good mindset of a team. Well, he set up for, as far as not having a truly toxic locker room by Mickey Joseph and staff. And so, then you was like, okay, well, if we can get some, momentum, 6, 7, 8 wins, it's kind of like when, John Gruden took over his Bucks. You just needed his, different type of view of offense. You didn't have to change the culture. They worked. They were competitive. They knew how to win, but they didn't know how to win the big game. And so hopefully, when we get towards the fall or in the fall, and obviously, stuff gets really real, we're going to be, seeing some, tangible, results. And necessarily, obviously, you're not expecting for this team to go, 13, 14-0. But you also know realistically, you can manufacture some wins and find a way to have, a pretty successful season. Winning football games cannot be understated. You know what I mean? That is more important, or it is way more important than whatever scheme you're running, whatever recruits you're bringing in, because these kids these days learn a ton of, they listen and they're more engaged when you win. But when you learn how to win and then everything else that goes into it, all of a sudden you start to take off. And then if it's not a pretty win, then wins start to become more pretty because you start to fall in love with the process of learning how to win. And then everything else kind of snowballs off of that.
it's gonna be like I'm trying to like maintain calm. I just like the fact that it some semblance of what's to come. Like we're all gonna be smarter Sunday than we are Saturday about what we're talking about.
I hope so.
Yeah, right.
I
Because
hope
we don't
so.
know anything.
I mean,
right?
I think I think we won't know much. You shouldn't, but I think that also you'll be like, okay, I see what homeboy was doing. I see that. I can see this. I can see this. So it'd be interesting to see to be honest with you, what the coordinators come up with. They're going to have the most questions because, Matt Rule is Matt Rule. He's going to be the overseer and the CEO. I don't think I can't speak for him, but I don't think he hired Marcus Satterfield to overstep his boundaries and call plays. I don't think he hired Coach White to call defense, but he knows it all. And so really we're going to get a glimpse into what the coordinators are going to be. I think all the stuff that Matt Rule is working on and going to do, you'll see it. And what I mean by that is, guys that are going to be held accountable. The standard's going to be different. You're going to be, he's going to be present. He won't be hard to find for the players, and he's going to be pushing you to be your best. And then how you fit in and do that stuff is going to be, predicated on position coaches and coordinators.
If I asked you to talk about your favorite room, that the linebackers in play, there's some veteran returning guys who are supposed to be the run stop guys and the run and hit guys. Then you've got the athletic group of edge setters and boundary setters and pass rushers. Who are you most excited to see out of that linebacker group?
Well, I mean, Nick and Luka, those are the guys right there. I'll be excited when they start, getting back in there. So, behind them, I just want to see what young guys actually really step up and start to play. And then look, you got to think Michael Booker, has moved to some sort of linebacker position. I'm probably more excited to see that. And where does Gifford fit in? What does this 3-3-5 kind of look like body type wise? And then, obviously Javen Wright, Buddha is still on the mend. And he's a guy that could be an X factor. He seems every time I see him, he was getting taller and bigger. Now we just got to keep him healthy. So, I'm more excited. I know the known factors, right? Everybody knows what Luke and Nick can do, right? And I think in this 3-3-5, I think you might see a better, and I don't know the Dvorak, the coach, but I've heard good things about him, right? I think in this 3-3-5, considering, what they're doing, I think you might see even a better version of ideally. Now, I'm just saying ideally, if they embrace this type of defense and they go all in, a better version of those two, which will lead to more consistent play and which will allow them to finish seasons off stronger. I always felt like they wore down a little bit. And, sometimes, you're asked to do a couple things that you're not able to do physically or maybe mentally. I think maybe these coaches recognize that, and they're going to try to really accentuate what they do well and not try to over-exaggerate what they don't do well.
It's going to be a fun day, and it'll be a big week of stories. Of course, more workouts tomorrow. Jay, we'll throw it a break. When we come back, we'll close out. We'll talk about the NBA playoffs, biggest story of the weekend, and then maybe have you pick tonight's games between Brooklyn and the Sixers, Golden State and Sacramento. We'll do that with the Husker Hall of Famer when we come back to Old School.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back. For sure. Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln by offering a number of services. From group homes for special needs adults to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the intellectual and developmental disability services your loved one needs to live a fulfilling life. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a more rewarding career, learn more about available positions. Learn more about services for your loved ones or employment today at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
Hey there.
Hi, honey.
Uh-oh.
Remember we told Jamie and Mike about Liberty First Credit Union, how great their checking account and car loans are, the amazing service we get, and how we love being members?
Yeah.
Well, they took our advice. Jamie said how easy it was to move all their accounts and become members. Now they say they're banking with purpose at Liberty First Credit Union.
Learn more about being a member at libertyfirstcu.com. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose. Member NCUA.
The Butchery by Venue is Lincoln's premier specialty grocers. Take the quality of Venue home with you with our hand-cut steaks, handcrafted burgers, and locally sourced offerings. Browse our wide selection of specialty products designed to enhance your dining experiences with cheeses, spices, sauces, and more. We also have an exclusive collection of liquors, whiskeys, and bourbons at prices you're sure to love. Stop in to the Butchery by Venue today, located in our Venue at Home storefront at 70th and Pioneers, just 2 doors down from Venue Restaurant and Lounge.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
The best way to learn about Southeast Community College is to visit. And you can check out our spaces before you visit in person with a virtual campus tour. An opportunity to see our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, and Milford as you learn about our programs and areas of study. There are virtual tours of our learning centers too. We can even take you on a personalized virtual tour. Learn more on our website, southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Babe, pack your bags. We're going to Vegas.
Vegas?
We just got the estimate from the wedding caterer, and we're going to have to elope.
Actually, Members Owned Credit Union is offering no-fee home equity lines of credit. We can borrow what we need with equity from the house.
Wait, so we can keep the bacon-wrapped dates for the cocktail hour?
We can keep the bacon-wrapped dates. From wedding bells to trekking the globe and everything in between, capture your dreams your way with a no-fee Members Owned Credit Union home equity line of credit. Learn more at membersownedheloc.org. Limitations may apply. Equal housing lender.
This is Jay Foreman. I wore gear to protect my health on the football field, and I'm protecting it now by staying up to date with the bivalent COVID vaccine. Get up to date while it's still free and stay protected. Learn more at healthylincoln.org.
Are you planting this spring? Make safety your priority. LES requires any landscaping or trees to be planted a safe distance from electrical lines and equipment to give crews safe access. Visit les.com/trees to learn more.
It's April, and that means the school year is almost over and summer road trips are on the horizon. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday and do it now. Mullen Motors lot is full of great vehicles to take home, so you don't have to worry about your current car barely surviving another road trip. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride, as summer road trips are just around the corner. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Not nearly as windy here for our Monday. In fact, a beautiful day on the way. We'll top out at 68. South winds at around 15 by this afternoon. Plenty of sunshine. Tonight clear with a low down to around 41. Tomorrow windy. Southeast winds gusting over 25. A high of 77 and a chance of evening thunderstorm. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Final segment before you hand it over to Ticket Weeknight. Speed and Power will take you through. Harrison Arns back in the game. Good to see him back. He'll do his thing, and he'll get to talk whether he's, in his space. He had a busy weekend, so he's always got good stuff to talk about. And then another shout out to the young ladies from Nebraska bowling, finished third in the entire country. To the men from Husker gymnastics, who finished fifth in the entire country. And I just want to say, listen, well done. That's incredible. Like we can focus on the other stuff, but you get two programs that are doing exceptionally well and should be received credit for it. Of course, currently baseball stands at top of the Big Ten Conference. Baseball's top of the Big Ten Conference. Softball's number 2, and they're one series away from being at the top of the Big Ten Conference. So let's pay attention. And, of course, I have a sneaky feeling that Nebraska track will have its best outdoor season in a long time. Just going to go up, put that out there, that's going to be there. Jay Foreman, it has been a busy week in the NBA for the playoffs. I'll ask you, what's been the biggest story so far in the NBA playoffs for you?
Oh, well, I mean, I would probably say, Bron Brown and them Lakers going over to Memphis and teaching them young boys the lesson of, the first, game of the playoffs. And then the injuries to the, big star players, right? You got to think John Morant, Tyler Hero, even Kevin Durant looked a little gimpy. I don't know what he's got going on, but he definitely wasn't moving at the type of speed that I'm used to Kevin Durant seeing. And then you can't go without saying as Giannis, an MVP candidate. I mean, he took a hard fall, and that did not look. First of all, it looked like it hurt, but it did hurt, but it didn't. Look kind of scary. So you got to think just in the first games of these playoffs, 3 major stars are hurt and could be out for some significant time or hampered. And how does that affect teams moving forward? And obviously the game last night with Phoenix was huge for the Clippers to come back and win, considering they didn't have Paul George. The Heat kind of pounced on the Bucks because Giannis was out, Timberwolves got shellacked, and then the Lakers. And so it's going to be interesting how it moves forward. It's like, the first game, sometimes you can get caught off guard, and we'll see who adjusts. You got a team like, Philly, who they might end up sweeping the Nets, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you got the Kings against the Warriors. You got the young Lions that were able to make a push late in the game against the Warriors team that kind of, thought, had a control of the game for a while. Can the Kings hold court and then maybe still won on Golden State? If Golden State gets it to 1-1, you got to think if they get home and get up 3-1, it's over. And that's considering that I'm sure Sacramento feels that they're just as talented. They deserve to win, but they don't have the experience. If they can show the wherewithal and the guts to win the night, it's going to be interesting to see how this stuff goes because some teams, the champions from the last year could get pounced out of the playoffs in the first round, or Golden State is getting healthy. And once they get healthy, that championship pedigree and the depth of legitimate players and scorers allow them to play longer and more consistent in series, and then they will close you out because they all can shoot free throws. They have multiple guys that can go off for 20-plus points. They have a bench that can, that gets deeper and deeper as they get healthier and healthier. And they're starting to get, their big 3, big 4. They actually have 2 big 3s. They got the original big 3 with Draymond, Clay, and Steph. Then you got Wiggins, Poole. You can even throw Gary Payton Jr. in there, and then what's his name, Humonga in there. So now you got 2 big 3s, and there's not a lot of teams that have 6 guys that can really play certain roles and be really, really good players in those roles.
I'll ask you this, and I want to ask Austin this as well. But who's the best team in the East Conference right now, in your mind? Who do you think the most likely team to be in the Eastern Conference Finals?
Man, before it all started, I would say Milwaukee because they were starting to get healthy. Middleton coming back. I think Lopez, obviously, being, maybe the defensive player of the year. But I think the Celtics. The way they've played, you got 2 superstars that have been more consistent, and I think they know how to play with each other. They're getting a little bit more healthy too with Williams and starting to, get their rebounding and being able to, fast break a little bit. I'd probably say the Celtics right now based on Giannis being hurt. I don't think Philly has it. But wouldn't be surprised. But, since the injury to Giannis, and if it's anything more than a game or 2, I'm going to go with the Celtics.
Austin, who you got in the East?
I like a lot of Jay's logic, and I think I end up with the same conclusion as him. What I'm seeing is that I think we get something very similar going on with Boston like we did with UConn, where Boston came out of the gates really hot like UConn did, hit a little bit of a midseason lull, refound their footing at the end of the year. Now they're in tournament time. They got a lot of pieces that are hard to match up with, do things that not a lot of other teams do. Milwaukee, with Giannis, though, has that, championship pedigree. They've been there, done that. We'll see what the prognosis is for him. And I don't mind Philly. I mean, Embiid can be just as unstoppable as Giannis every given night. Harden's found a way to age gracefully back into a supporting role. So I like all three of those teams at times, but Boston's the only team in the NBA, top 5 net rating offense and defense, have to end up with them, I think.
In the West, I was watching the Nuggets and I wanted to be bowled over. I wasn't. Memphis looked, meh. We don't know who's coming out of Sacramento and Golden State. And the same is true for Phoenix and the Clippers. Jay, who's your team in the West?
No, I'm going with the Lakers, man. Yeah, I'm going with the Lakers. This is Lake Show. That's how I'm rolling. It's with my heart. I don't care either. LeBron James and Anthony Davis ain't playing like no chumps. I'm going with the Lakers. But I think this NBA playoffs is exciting because there is not one team that if you pull 10 people, they'd be like, yeah, we're here in the same team. You could say Phoenix if you think Phoenix before the game last night. You could say the Clippers the last month of the season have been playing the best. Kawhi Leonard seems like he's stepping up, and they're going to get Paul George back. And they might be the deepest team in the West, along with Golden State. Then you got Golden State. They're starting to get healthy. They know how to turn it on in the playoffs. Then you could say Denver. They've been the most consistent, but they have never been able to get out of like the first and second round. And then you could say the Lakers because they are starting to play well together. They're healthy. Bron's back. AD is, obviously you got some milk in his diet. He ain't so fragile. And, then you got Reeves. Then you got Rui, Chimura, Richard Moore that they got from Washington in the trade. Then you're like, okay, I see what we're doing. So I think it's just going to be exciting. I think it's all about matchups. Who can get out of this first round and get the best matchup in the second round? And then once you get to the conference finals, it don't matter because it's 4 games, and you don't care if you win all 4 games by 1 point. You just want to be victorious.
Thank you, Jay. Austin, get us out of here. But tell me, who's your team in the West?
I have been pulling for the Clippers for so long. I love the way they built that team up from really being the Lakers' 14th younger brother, even though they're the only second NBA team there. So I'm really pulling for the Clippers. Peak Phoenix is tough if Chris Paul stays healthy. There's a lot of questions up top. I don't trust any of the top 3 seeds. So give me the Clips. Give me the Clips.
There are no wrong answers. That's literally the beauty behind it. Jay Foreman, well done. Strick, appreciate you, brother. Austin, crushed it again. Speed Power up next here. 937 The Ticket, then ticketfm.com.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado